Hello everyone, welcome to Lecture 1, an introduction to computers and programming. This lecture is only going to be a theory lecture, so if this is something that you are not interested in, I highly suggest skipping to the next video where we're actually going to start programming in C++. In this lecture we are going to give a brief overview of how a computer functions as well as what a program actually is. So, what is a computer? A computer is a programmable machine designed to follow instructions, mainly the instructions you give it as a programmer. A computer consists of some main components that we call hardware. A computer has a central processing unit, which we refer to as the CPU, main memory, which is basically like the active memory, which we refer to as RAM, secondary memory, which is basically inactive memory, input devices like keyboards, cameras, etc., anything that provides a computer with data, output devices like a screen or a printer. Now we're going to look more in depth of what a CPU actually is. A CPU, which is basically the brains of a computer, consists of two main components. A control unit, which controls what is going on in the computer. It retrieves and decodes a program and coordinates activities of all other parts of a computer. And then also an arithmetic and logic unit, which is optimized for high-speed numeric calculations. In all actuality, a computer can only process data through binary or calculations. So the central processing unit is a brain optimized for doing calculations at a high speed. It also controls where the instructions are going as well as where we get our input from. Now here we have a small visual as to how a CPU works, just in general. The CPU takes input and then processes it with its two components to produce some type of output. Now moving on to main memory. We also refer to this as RAM, random access memory. This is basically the part of memory where running programs and variables and stuff are stored. Everything that is in use at the moment is stored in here because it's very, very fast. So main memory is volatile, which means if the computer is switched off or when the program stopped running, it will be automatically erased. So it will clear each time you restart your computer. How this differs from secondary storage is non-volatile. You can think of it as long-term memory. This is where program instructions are kept when they are not actively being worked on, as well as some data which we want to use in the future. So when the computer is turned off, this memory will not be erased. Now, what exactly is a program? A program is a set of instructions in a computer's memory to make it do something. Anything really, which you want it to do. We have two types of languages, low-level languages and high-level languages. So low-level programming languages are used for communication with a computer's hardware directly, often written in binary. Binary is the only language a computer can actually understand. Therefore, we need programs to convert our high-level programming languages, which is basically closer to human language, into binary, something which the computer can understand. C++, which we are going to be learning in this course, is an example of a high-level programming language, since it is much more closer to human language than ones and zeros, which is machine language. It's what the machine actually can understand. Now that we know what a program is, now we need to figure out what a program is made up of. Basically, since we talk about programming languages, we can relate it to actual language because it follows the same basic constructs. We have keywords, which is words specifically designated by the programming language, which is basically return, cout, namespace, every word that C++ actually understands, and it is built into C++. And then we have programmer-defined identifiers, which is variable names, anything we call the variable. So let's say I want to make a variable x, right? or an integer variable and name it x. X is the programmer-defined identifier because I gave it that name. Then also we have operators, which is basically like a plus, a minus, a division, multiplication sign, and then a bunch of other stuff that we are going to learn in this course. And also, like every other language, we need punctuation. So we work a lot with semicolons, apostrophes, double apostrophes, single apostrophes, etc., etc. And then also, very important in a language is its grammar, which we refer to in a programming language as the syntax. Now, the syntax differs from programming language to programming language, but basically it's just the rules of grammar when you're using all of the above to be able to write a program that is coherent. Okay, so back to our Hello World example. We have identified but a few of these programming elements just to give you some understanding. We have a keyword using, namespace is also a keyword. We have some punctuation, which is the semicolon. Then we also have an operator, which we are going to learn about more in the next lecture. As a challenge, I challenge you to find more of these constructs in the code example and then comment them below. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. See you in the next. Have a nice day.